Okay, so now we will talk about is cash reserve ratio. Okay, so now this is a very important point. See, banks, when they want to function as a bank, you have to keep a minimum proportion, like a guarantee or a security. So let me write down here. Banks in India are required to keep certain proportions of their deposits in the form of cash. Okay, and it is also called as reserves. So how much is the cash reserve ratio right now in India? It is 10%. Okay, so the 10% means the bank has to keep 10%. So say for example, if the bank has to give 1000 rupees, okay, so if the bank will have to keep 100 rupees as reserve, okay, against the deposit of rupees 1000. So now if the RBI can anytime increase the CRR. So let me write down here. RBI at any time can decide to increase the CRR. Okay, so now if the RBI suddenly wants to increase the CRR to 20%, that means the banks have to keep 200 rupees out of 1000 rupees. Okay, so now what will happen is there will be less borrowings and investment, and hence there will be reduction in income and aggregate demand. So this is the way RBI tries to control. So if the reduction in CRR, says that now if the reduction is like from 10% it has gone to 5%, then what will happen is it will reduce the reserve, and more people will be encouraged to invest. Okay, because they will get more money and aggregate demand will also increase. So if there is an increase of CRR ratio, then inflation is at control. Okay, but if there is a decrease in CRR ratio, inflation is increased, but investment increases, aggregate demand also increases, and income also increases. Okay, but right now if you see the CRR ratio is right now, current CRR ratio is 10%. Okay, now time and again there is a controversy here. So let us see the CRR controversy, which is also very important for UPSC. So let me just erase this. So let me mention here CRR controversy. Okay, so time and again many bankers and economists have recommended to remove CRR. Okay, so that is what they are happening, because demand has increased, and few experts they are saying that because NPA, the non-profit, most of the banks are becoming they are going in losses. So that is why the economists are thinking that if we remove CRR, then investments will increase, aggregate demand will also increase. Okay, now why CRR should be abolished? Okay, now first of all banks put together, they maintain a cash balance of rupees 300 and like 3,14,900 crores, okay, with the RBI every day. So this is very important. So how much is that all banks put together? Let me write down here. All banks put together maintain a cash balance of rupees 314,900 crore with RBI every day, not a month, it is every day. So that is what the economists are thinking. That is why most of the banks, they also become bankrupt. Now this keeps on growing with the growth. Okay, so this is a huge deposit which the which the banking industries are sacrificing, and this huge amount also which the banks are keeping with the RBI, they do not earn any interest also. Okay, so if you calculate the interest on this say for example amount at the average lending, you can focus on this, so say for a 10% also, so there is a total loss of 10% to the banking industry. So that is like every year, if you see, almost 31,000 crore is a loss of the bank. Okay, so according to many bankers, CRR policy has denied the country growth, and it so the growth is not happening because of the CRR, and that is why if it is abolished, it will allow the banks to lower the lending rate also. So it will actually overall help the economy to grow. So since RBI does not pay any interest, the CRR is something acting like a tax, like the banks have to pay a tax to the RBI, and which is a very very big disadvantage. Okay, so according to experts, the loss to the banking sector due to CRR was 21,000 crores. So what is the loss? So the loss is 21,000 crores. Okay, so now if a bank falls short of its CRR requirements, the RBI collects interest. So if you are like, suppose like the same way when your minimum balance payment, it comes down, then you have to start paying some interest. Same way, if CRR, if the banks are unable to pay out the CRR, then the RBI starts asking them interest. Okay, so the interest starts increasing. So there is an interest on the shortfall from the bank at the bank rate, as if if you're a defaulter or something. The way we are defaulters, even banks are defaulter, but this is not justified, and there must be some discipline, and this is a source of irritation to the banks. Okay, so most of the central banks in the developed country, they have stopped this CRR except India, and they are using this tool for open market operations. Okay, so why now? That is why they are saying that CRR should be abolished. But India is saying that, RBI of India is saying that CRR should not be abolished. So let us see that why CRR should not be abolished. So let me just rub this. Okay, just a minute. Yeah. So as I said, we are not finished with the argument. As I said, this was for. Now we will talk about against, that why CRR should not be abolished. Okay, so my topic is why should CRR not be abolished. Okay. So now the first point of argument is that CRR system acts as a hedging. So what is a hedging? Whenever you want, you can increase or decrease. Okay, so it is something like a tool which is very helpful. Okay, and it's a great strategy for banks. So that is the first argument. What is the second argument? CRR is important as it provides banks with the immediate cash. So whenever there is a crunch in the cash, so there is an immediate liquidity of their own. Now say for example, whenever they are keeping this reserve ratio, until now every morning Reserve Bank, the money comes from Reserve Bank, but due to some reasons the money couldn't come. So they can use this money, whatever they are saving. Okay, so that is why it provides the banks with the immediate liquidity of their own. Okay, now I'll continue this point. Since bank operates on a minimum reserve, okay, on a minimum reserve system. Now any bad situation, so in any bad situation, this will be of help. the bank can run and push millions of depositors, withdrawing their money at the same time. So in such a situation, if the bank has the liquidity reserves, it will stop the banking system from a total collapse. Now suppose if all bank depositors, they come to the same time and they start removing the money, or they start withdrawing. So if they have this cash reserve ratio, it will stop the banks from collapsing. Okay. Now till the time the crisis day doesn't come, this will be just blocking. Okay. So CRR reserves, it is a very useful purpose, and customers have to bear the cost, no doubt about it, but it is like a safety. Okay. So it's a bank safety. So CRR and SLRR, okay, or SLR rather, that is statutory liquidity ratio, and CRR, they are two safety valves, just like a locker. Okay. And that is very prudent for the banks to protect the banks from all types of any disasters or adversities. Okay. So that is why, so if a bank falls short of its CRR requirements, the RBI collects the interest on the shortfall, as a defaulter, as I told you. Now while the RBI's action is justified, it is the only way the central bank can enforce some discipline. So there is a rule also, so that banks also, they think that somebody is there above, like how teachers scold their students. So some way RBI is also saying that you have to maintain discipline, you cannot be here and there like a baby, and you cannot dominate yourself. Okay. So it will also enforce the banks to discipline themselves among the banks, and it is a source of irritation, and SBI is the one which controls the entire thing. Now a few years ago also, if you remember, RBI had ceased to pay interest on CRR. Okay. Now obviously this affects the commercial bank, but this is one of the main reasons why SBI is wanted CRR to be abolished, because SBI was the first bank. So let me write down here, SBI was the first bank to abolish, or wanted to abolish, CRR. Okay. Because a few years ago RBI had ceased to pay an interest rate on CRR. So this was very very unjust for many banks, and that is why SBI thought that let's just completely abolish it. Okay. But it has not yet been done. Now coming to the next point of monetary policy. So I hope you like this argument. It was very interesting, and it can be also be called as a debate, where we can talk about two things, that is why CRR should be abolished or it should not be abolished. Okay. Now we will talk about a new term that is called as LAF. Okay. So let me write down here, LAF. So what do you mean by LAF? It is liquidity adjustment facility. Okay. So what is it? Let me write down. LAF is a monetary policy instrument which allows commercial banks and primary dealers to borrow money through repurchasing agreements. Okay. So basically it's a monetary instrument, and which allows the commercial banks and primary dealers, whenever they want, if they want to borrow the money, through repurchasing the agreements. Let us know something more about LAF. So just let me delete this. Okay. So let me continue. LAF is used to help banks. So this can come as a question also. What is the requirement of LAF? So LAF is used to help banks in adjusting day to day fluctuations. So what is fluctuations? Going up and down, not perfect, not steady, going up and down, not very steady. So that is called as fluctuation. So adjusting the day-to-day fluctuations in liquidity. Okay. Now RBI, please remember this, it only extends this LAF facility only to commercial banks, okay, and not to any rural banks or any primary dealers. So this RBI only extends this LAF facilities only given to commercial banks, not any other banks, okay. Now let's continue the point. LAF allowed banks to park or keep their excess money with the RBI. Okay, so you have to remember this, with the RBI in case of excess liquidity. Okay, and this liquidity from RBI is also done at the time of any deficit or something against the government security. So this is used, this can be also, so let me write, this can be also be used against government or collateral security. So what is collateral? Something like which you have, like it can be land or gold or something like that. So so that is a collateral of government securities. Okay, now the operations of LAF is done by two rates, which is called as repo rate and reverse repo rate. So we will do this repo and reverse repo rate. So let me write down here, this is very important, because they can ask you that how is the operations done, and as an option, or they can ask you as a question also. So you have to know that how LAF is operated. Okay, so just let me rub this. Yes, so let me continue. So the operations of LAF are conducted by way of repos and reverse repos. So I told you I'll explain to you about this repos and reverse repos. So what is repos? Let us first study about repos. So yes, repos. Now what are repos? Or they are also called as repurchase agreements. Okay, so it is an instrument which allows banks to borrow money from the RBI. And why do they have to borrow? Since they want to manage short term needs of liquid cash or liquidity. So whenever they are in need of liquidity, and how do they do it? They sell the government security. So against the selling of government securities, okay, with an agreement to repurchase. So they have to repurchase, okay, that they are selling it now, but they will again repurchase the government securities at a determined date. Okay, so now I'm selling it, but I will again repurchase. I promise to repurchase the government securities at a predetermined date and rate. Okay, so now what is this rate? So let me continue here. So let me rub this. Yes. So as I said that they have they can sell they can buy or they can get the liquidity against the selling of government securities with an agreement to repurchase the same government securities at a predetermined date and rate. Yes. So the rate at which the RBI lends to the bank is called as repo rate. Okay, so now I think it's clear what is the meaning of repo rate. Now let us know the meaning of reverse repo. So yes, let us write the next. Reverse repo, the very vital and important economic term, students. So you have to remember this term. You cannot make any mistake because they will be asking you these questions. Okay, so now let us study about reverse repo. So here obviously it is the opposite of repo rate. So it is an instrument which allows the RBI to borrow from the banks. Okay, so it allows the RBI to borrow from the banks by lending government securities. Okay, so the rate at which the banks lend to the RBI is called as reverse repo rate. Okay, so this is what is it. So reverse repo is an instrument which allows the RBI to borrow from the banks by lending government securities. So the rate at which the banks lend to the RBI is called as reverse repo rate. Okay, so now let us talk about repo. Okay, so just let me rub this. Okay, so now let us talk about repo, R-E-P-O. So repo means it injects money into the system. Okay, so what is it? So now you have to please focus on this. Repo injects money into the system. Okay, and what does reverse repo do? So whereas reverse repo takes money out of the system. So I hope it's clear. Is it clear? So it injects money into the system is called as repo, whereas reverse repo takes the money out of the system. Now let us continue something else which is very vital. The RBI increases the repo rate. Very important, students. Please do not forget this because it is very important for your point of as a the perspective of your UPSC exams. So the RBI increases the repo rate only during the time of inflation. So please remember this, only at the time of inflation, and decreases the repo rate during the time of deflation and low growth. Okay, so now let me tell you what is the important point to remember. So this is also very important. Now just let me clear this. Okay, so the important point to remember is that the window, so window means I meant to say is opening. Okay, so the window or the opening of LAF does not allow. So what is LAF? I had already told you the meaning of LAF. It is liquidity adjustment facility. So the window of LAF, as I said, does not, as I said, allow the banks, okay, to borrow the unlimited amount, very important point, amount from the RBI. Okay, so the banks are permitted to borrow only a limited percentage of its net demand, okay, and time liabilities under LAF window. Okay, so now we will come to the next term that is called as marginal standing facility. Okay, so just let me clear this also. Yes, so we'll come to the next one, marginal standing facility. Okay, so it's also called as MSF. Now this is a very new point, okay, and which has been included in UPSC also. So MFS is a new scheme, okay, which was announced in 2011 and 12. Let me write down this also. Announced by the RBI in the year 2011 and 12. Okay, so what is MSF rather, sorry. MSF is a penal rate at which banks, okay, so it's a minimum rate at which the banks can borrow money from the RBI over and above of what they can borrow from the RBI under LAF window. Okay, so how much they can borrow, that is the capacity, and that is given under MSF. Okay, so now one more thing which you have to remember, so let me just continue writing this. So these are informations which are very important, and you know, when it as a general knowledge also they ask you this question, so you have to be very much known to this, what is the meaning of it. So that is why it is so important. Okay, now another thing which I need to write about MSF. So MSF would be a penal rate for banks, and the banks can borrow funds by pledging government securities within the limits of the statutory liquidity ratio. Now this scheme, let me write down, the scheme was introduced, so the scheme was introduced by RBI, so you have to remember this also, by RBI with the aim of reducing the pressure, the volatility. So let me write, reducing the pressure, okay, or volatile, so it's like up and down in the overnight. So sometimes the rates keep on increasing within overnight